Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to talk about how to identify the parts of speech of English words in sentences. Before going to talk about this in detail, let us check our knowledge of parts of speech. Here we are going to identify the parts of speech of the word well. Can it be an adjective? Of course, this word can be an adjective, but can this word well be of some other parts of speech? Let us see. Here there are 5 sentences, and each of the sentence the word well is common, but the same word has been identified as 5 different parts of speech here. Why does it happen? Or how can a single word be identified as 5 different parts of speech? It happens due to the function of a word. Due to various functions of the word well, it has been identified here as 5 different parts of speech. That is, in the first sentence the word well is an adverb, in the second sentence it's an adjective, in the third sentence it's a noun, in the fourth sentence it's a verb, and in the fifth sentence it's an interjection. I will talk about later why this is identified as 5 different sentences. I said the parts of speech of a word mainly depends on the function of the word in a sentence. But what does the function of a word mean in a sentence? The function of a word means the purpose or work or job that a word does in a sentence. In our everyday life, we use a lot of sentences when we speak or when we write something. And in our sentences, we do not unnecessarily use any word. We use a word when it has some purpose to serve or some function. Here in this example we see there are 4 words. That is, he plays football every day. In this sentence there are 4 words, and of course each of the 4 words has a particular function of its own. The first word in the sentence is he, and he functions as the subject of this sentence and it's a pronoun. The second word is plays, and it functions as the verb of this sentence, and it's a verb and it expresses a kind of action. The third word, football, functions as the object of this sentence and it's a noun. Every day functions as an adverb in this sentence because in this sentence the word every day describes when the action takes place. So what is a part of speech? Every word we use belongs to a category or class on the basis of its function in a sentence, and each of this category is called a part of speech. Example: wow, Rahman and his friends enjoyed very much their first day at college. In this sentence there are 13 words, and every of these words of course has a particular function which are analyzed here. And types of parts of speech. These are the common types of parts of speech, though some modern grammarians want to include determiner and exclamation in this list. And here my focus will especially be on noun, verb, adverb, adjective and preposition. In the third slide we saw that the word well was identified as 5 different parts of speech, and we said that we cannot determine the parts of speech of a word until it is used in a sentence, because until a word is used in a sentence, we cannot know its function. And before knowing the function of a word in a sentence, we cannot determine the parts of speech of that word. In the first sentence, he played well to win the match. In this sentence, the word well is an adverb. Why is it an adverb? We know verbs can only be modified by adverb. And if I ask, how did he play? Of course, he played well. So in this sentence, the word well is modifying or giving information about the verb play. So it's an adverb because only adverb can modify a verb. The second sentence, Sarah was completely well. In this sentence, well is an adjective because it has modified the subject Sarah, and Sarah is a noun, and we know only adjective can modify a noun. The third one, they used to obtain water from a well. In this sentence, the word well is a noun. It is a noun because it has been used as an object of the preposition from. We know the object of a preposition can only be a noun or a pronoun, and here we can explain it from a different point of view. That is, well here is a name. Well here is a name because here well means a kind of deep hole in the ground from where we can collect or obtain water. In the fourth sentence, when she leaves home, tears well up in her eyes. Well here is a verb because it expresses a kind of action of coming out tear from someone's eyes. In the last sentence, well, I think it's a good idea anyway. It's an interjection because it has emphasized the idea or the feeling. I will talk about all these parts of speech in detail, step by step. Here are some other examples of using the same word as different parts of speech. The first one, the plane circled round overhead. Here the word round is an adverb because it has modified the verb circled. Second sentence, his eyes look huge behind those rosy spectacles. Here round is an adjective because it has modified the noun spectacles. She cut the pastry into rounds. Here rounds is a noun because it has been used as the object of the preposition into, or here rounds a name of something which has a roundish shape. The sheep can round the cape in 3 days. In the sentence, the round is a verb because it has expressed a kind of action of going around the cape in 3 days. They gathered round their mother. In the sentence, it is a preposition because it has established a kind of relationship between their mother and the other. And we know the function of a word is to establish preposition between noun, pronoun, and other part of a sentence. So the parts of speech of a word can only be identified based on the function of the word in a sentence. The position of a word in a sentence and the meaning also can help us determine its parts of speech or word class. But here our main focus will be on the function of a word in order to determine its parts of speech. Noun. What is a noun? Nouns express names. For example, names of people, places, things, state, abstract idea, quality, etc. That is to say, a noun is a word that identifies a person, animal, place, thing, or idea. If we look around us, we will see so many things around us, and all of them have some names. And all these names are nouns. Example, Fahim went to Jashore to buy a fan because of the warm weather. Here there are four nouns in this sentence. The first one, Fahim, is a noun because it is the name of a person. Jashore is also a noun because it is the name of a place. The third word, fan, is also a noun because it is the name of an electrical instrument that produces air. And the last word, weather, is also a noun because it expresses a kind of state or condition of atmosphere. The functions of noun in sentences. Nouns have 7 different functions in sentences. That is, it can be used as a subject in a sentence, as a direct object in a sentence, as an indirect object in a sentence, as an object of a preposition, as a subject complement, as an object complement, and as an appositive. Functions of noun as a subject in a sentence. So what is a subject? Subject is usually a noun or noun phrase or pronoun representing the person or thing that performs the action of the verb or about which something is stated. We are now going back to the examples. The boy gave his friend a book. In this sentence, the verb is give, and who is performing the action of the verb give? Of course, the boy is performing the action of the verb give. Second one, Mr. Rahman reads newspapers every day. So who reads newspaper? Of course, Mr. Rahman reads newspaper. So Mr. Rahman in this sentence is performing the action of reading. Walking is good for health. In this sentence, walking is the subject of the verb is. And in the last sentence, to lie is a great sentence. To lie is a subject of the verb is. In the first two sentences, the subjects are performing the action of the verb, and in the last two sentences, something is stated about the subject. That is, walking. What is said about walking? It is good for health. To tell lie is a great sin. What is said here about to lie? It is a great sin. And we should keep in mind that only nouns and pronouns can be used as subject of a sentence. So the present participle or infinitive can also be used as noun in a sentence as a subject. Functions of noun as a direct object in a sentence. But what is a direct object? We need to know this first. A direct object is a noun, pronoun, or noun phrase denoting a person or thing that receives the action of a transitive verb. To find it out, find the verb and ask what or whom. If you get the answer, it is the direct object. We are now going back to the examples. The boy gave his friend a fan. Now find out the verb. The verb is of course gave, and we are now asking a question using what. So what did the boy give his friend? Of course the answer is a fan. So a fan in this sentence is an, and of course it's a direct object. He wrote this book 2 years ago. So what did he write 2 years ago? Of course, he wrote a book. So this book in this sentence is the direct object in this sentence. They have bought a new house. So what is the verb here? The verb is bought or have bought. And now I am asking a question using what. So what have they bought? They bought a house. So house is the direct object in this sentence. Topu loves his friends. So whom does Topu love? Answer is his friend. So here in this sentence the verb was love, and I have asked a question using whom. So whom does Topu love? to pull up his friends. Functions of noun as an indirect object in a sentence. First, we need to know what an indirect object is. An indirect object receives the direct object and answers the questions of to whom, for whom, or for what. We are now going back to the examples. The boy gave his friend a book. So what did the boy give? Of course, the boy gave a book. So a book in this sentence is a direct object, and I am now asking a question using to whom. So to whom did the boy give the book? Or to whom did the boy give a book? Of course, the boy gave the book to his friend. So his friend in the sentence is an indirect object and it's a noun. He plucked his mother a flower. So what is the direct object in this sentence? Of course, the direct object is a flower. And who is receiving the flower? Of course, his mother is receiving the flower. So in this sentence, the direct object is a flower and indirect object is his mother. We can explain this from a different point of view. The verb is pluck, and I am now asking a question using for whom. So for whom did he pluck a flower? Of course, he plucked the flower for his mother. She bought her son a book. So in this sentence, the verb is bought, and I am asking a question using for whom. So for whom did she buy a book? Of course, she bought a book for her son. So her son in this sentence is an indirect object. Robi gave Alim the bell. In this sentence, the bell is the direct object and Alim is the indirect object. Now we are going to explain this. The ball is the direct object. So who is receiving the ball? Of course, Alim is receiving the ball, and we know indirect object receives the direct object. We can explain it from a different point of view. That is, the verb is give, and we are going to ask a question using to whom. That is, to whom did Robi give the ball? Of course, Robi gave the ball to Alim. So in this sentence, Alim is the indirect object and it's a noun. Functions of noun as an object of a preposition. When a noun is used as the object of a preposition, it usually comes after the preposition. Here we are going to the examples. We should help any person in need. In this sentence, need is a noun because it has been used as the object of the preposition in. Second sentence, our school is around the corner. In this sentence, the corner is a noun because it has been used as an object of the preposition round. And the next sentence, Marcus hid under the bed. In this sentence, the bed is a noun because it has been used as an object of the preposition under. Now we are going to next slide. Function of noun as a subject complement. At first, we need to know what a subject complement is. A subject complement is a word or phrase, usually noun or adjective or pronoun, that usually follows a linking verb and describes the subject of the verb. That is, a subject complement describes the subject of the verb. So, and what is a linking verb? Linking verbs are usually be, become, seem, appear, feel, grow, look, prove, remain, smell, sound, taste, and turn. These verbs are called linking verbs because they link the complement to the subject. We are now going back to the examples. Brandon is a gifted athlete. In this sentence, Brandon is the subject and the word athlete is describing the subject and it's a noun. Dhaka seems to be a big city. In this sentence, the word city is describing the subject, Dhaka. He was a meritorious student. In this sentence, the word student is describing the subject, he. He appears to be a soldier. In this sentence, a soldier is describing the subject, he. Here, all the four subject complement, that is athlete, city, student and soldiers are names and they are describing their subject as subject complement. Functions of noun as an object complement. At first we need to know what an object complement is. An object complement is a noun or adjective that completes the meaning of the verb and modifies, names or renames the direct object. We already have known that a subject complement describes the subject, and the same way an object complement describes the object. They both do the same thing. We are now going back to the examples. We named our daughter Fatima. Here our daughter is the object and Fatima is renaming it. And Fatima and our daughter actually are the same person. Second example, they elected Nazrul mayor. In this sentence, Nazrul is the direct object and mayor renames or modifies Nazrul. Nazrul and mayor are the same person in this sentence. This music made her a fan. In this sentence, her is the object and a fan describes it. The fourth sentence, they considered us friends. In this sentence, us is the object and friends are modifying or renaming the object us. He painted his room red. In this sentence, room is the object and red is modifying the room or giving information about the room. It is important to note that the word red can also be an adjective, but here red means the name of a particular color, so it's a noun. His father calls him Khoka. In this sentence, the object is him and Khoka is describing or modifying or renaming him. For this reason, Khoka here has been used as an object complement because it has described the object. Here in each of the 6 sentences, the last word in bold fonts have modified the objects just before them. Functions of noun as an appositive. At first we need to know what an appositive is. An appositive is a noun or noun phrase that renames another noun right beside it. It is important to note a noun or noun phrase that renames another noun right beside it. The appositive can be a short or long combination of words. Here are some examples. The insect, a cockroach, is crawling across the kitchen table. In this sentence, the insect is the subject and it's a noun, and a cockroach is also a noun. And a cockroach here is actually renaming the insect. The insect, a large cockroach, is crawling across the kitchen table. In this sentence, the insect is a noun and it is the subject, and a large cockroach is renaming the subject, the insect. Now we are going back to our examples. Robiul, my friend, is a brilliant student. The first word in the sentence, Robiul, is the subject and it is a noun, and the phrase my friend is renaming Robiul. A brilliant student, Robiul stood first. In the sentence, a brilliant student, this is the subject, and Robiul is renaming a brilliant student. A noun sometimes can also be identified by some suffixes, but our emphasis here is on the function of the words, not on the suffixes. But you can have a look at this. Adjective. An adjective describes nouns and pronouns. That is to say, we use adjectives in sentences in order to give more information or in order to identify nouns and pronouns only. It is very important to remember, adjectives are used to give information about only nouns and pronouns. In other words, nouns and pronouns can only be modified by adjectives. Now we are going to analyze the example sentences here. Here are 5 sentences, and in each of the sentences there is a word in red. These red letter words are adjectives. Beside them there are words which are underlined and italicized. These underlined and italicized words are either nouns or pronouns, and these are modified by the red letter adjective beside them. Now we are going to the first example. Just campus is green. If I ask, how is just campus? Of course the answer is green. So just campus is green. In this sentence, the word green is an adjective because it has modified or given information or described the noun campus. So how is the campus? Campus is green. Next one, this soup is not edible. So how is the soup? Not edible. How is the soup? Either it is edible or not edible. In this sentence, the word edible is describing the condition of the soup. Third example, he writes meaningless letters. In this sentence, meaningless is an adjective because it has modified the noun letters. So how are the letters? The letters are meaningless. Fourth example, she looks gorgeous. So how does she look today? She looks gorgeous. So how is she? She is gorgeous. In this sentence, she is a pronoun and it has been modified by the adjective gorgeous. The last example, this glass is breakable. In this sentence, the word breakable is an adjective because it has modified the noun glass. We have to remember that any word that gives information about a noun or a pronoun is an adjective. If we go to the second example here, this soup, in this sentence, this has been used before the noun soup. So in this sentence, the word this is also an adjective. Here are more examples. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. This is a very nice example because in this sentence there are all the 26 letters of English alphabet, and this type of sentences are called pangram. In the sentence, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Here the red words are adjective. The quick brown fox. The quick brown fox. These three words at the same time have described the noun fox. And again, the lazy dog. So how is the dog? The dog is lazy. In this sentence, the word or words the lazy have described the dog. So these are adjectives. She became very happy. How did she become? How did she become? She became happy. In the sentence, happy is an adjective because it has modified the pronoun she. Green fields soothe our eyes. In the sentences, green and our, these two words are adjectives because they have modified to nouns. So how are the fields? The fields are green. And whose eyes? Our eyes. Fourth example, she was disappointed. So how was she? She was disappointed. In the sentence, the word disappointed has given information about the pronoun she. Fifth example, her math test score was disappointing. So how was the score? The score was disappointing. In this sentence, the word disappointing is describing the score. She doesn't seem happy today. So how doesn't she seem today? Happy. In this sentence, the word happy has described the pronoun she. Here are some more examples of adjectives. Here in every sentence there is an adjective and the adjectives are in red and the clues beside them are underlined and italicized words. Here are some more examples, and in these sentences the words in red are adjectives and the words beside them which are italicized and underlined are the clues which are either noun or pronouns. Adverb. An adverb describes three types of word. These are a verb, an adverb, and an adjective. That is, an adverb can modify a verb, an adjective, and another adverb. An adverb cannot describe any word other than these three types of words. Now we are going to explain some examples. The farmer works hard from dawn to dusk. In this sentence, the word hard, which is in red, is an adjective because it has modified the verb works. So how does he work? He works hard. So in this sentence, the word hard has modified the verb works. So it's an adverb. The second sentence, the boy was extraordinarily brilliant. In this sentence, the underlined and italicized word is an adjective. So how was the boy? The boy was brilliant. Now I'm asking a new question. How much brilliant is the boy? Or how much brilliant was the boy? The boy was extraordinarily brilliant. Here, the word extraordinarily is adding more information to the adjective brilliant. So how much brilliant? He is extraordinarily brilliant. So in this sentence, the word extraordinarily is describing the adjective brilliant. So extraordinarily is an adverb. He usually walks very fast. In this sentence, very and fast, these two words are adverb. Why? If I ask, how does he walk? The answer is, he walks fast. So in this sentence, the word fast is describing the verb walks. And if I ask, how fast? The answer is very fast. So in this sentence, fast is an adverb because it has modified the verb walks, and very is also an adverb because it has modified another adverb, that is fast. We know Adverb, adjective and verb. These three words can only be modified by adverbs. That is, if any word in a sentence gives information about a verb, about an adjective or about an adverb, then that will be an adverb. Here are some more examples. I am not going to read out the examples. Here notice that all the words in red are adverb and all the words beside them which are underlined and italicized are either verb or adjective or adverb. Here are some more examples. There are some words which end in ly, but these are not adverb, rather these are adjective, because you know adverbs are formed by adding ly at the end of adjective, but here we say these words are formed adding ly at the end of some nouns. That is, when nouns take ly at their end, these nouns become adjectives, not adverb. Here look at the example. The word friend is formed by adding ly to the end of the noun friend. In the same way, cowardly is a noun, father, home and time, these are also nouns. And here at the end of all these 5 words we have added an ly, and we have added the ly at the end of some nouns, so these are actually adjective, not adverb. Preposition. We use a preposition in order to establish a relationship between words in a clause, phrase or sentence. If you want to define a preposition, we can say a preposition is a word or set of words used before a noun, pronoun or gerund to show a place, time, direction, etc. What is a gerund? A gerund is a noun in the form of the present participle of a verb. That is, a gerund is a form of verb used as a noun in a sentence. For example, I like shopping. In this sentence, the word shopping is a gerund because it is used as a noun, because it is the object of the verb like, and it is of course formed from the verb shop. We are going back to preposition again. A preposition indicates location or other relationship between a noun or pronoun or other parts of a phrase, clause or sentence. In order to indicate location, we usually use in, near, beside, on top of, etc. And in order to show other relationships, we can use about, after, beside, instead of, in accordance, etc. We said a single word may be a preposition. A set of words can also be a preposition. Here we say instead of, it's a set of word, a kind of phrase. It is also a preposition. In accordance with, it is a preposition also. A preposition usually has an object, and this object is usually a noun, a pronoun or a gerund we mentioned already. So a preposition isn't a preposition unless it goes with a related noun, pronoun or gerund called the object of the preposition. Examples, let's meet before noon. Here in this sentence, the word before is a preposition because it has an object, that is noun, and the word before has been used before a noun also. So it is a preposition. But the second example, we never met before. Here in this sentence, the word before has no object and it is modifying the verb met. So it is an adverb, not a preposition, because you know a preposition cannot modify a verb and only adverb can modify verbs. Here is a list of most used prepositions and I am not going to read out the list. Some common facts about preposition. Prepositions indicate relationships between other words in a sentence. Many prepositions tell you where something is or when something happened. Most prepositions have several definitions, so the meaning changes quite a bit in different contexts. Ending a sentence with a preposition is not a grammatical error. In the 17th century, English poet and dramatist John Dryden mentioned that preposition shouldn't go at the end of a sentence because a preposition should have an object. He was influenced by Latin. In Latin, a preposition must have an object. But British Prime Minister, politician and writer Winston Churchill opposed this notion. He thought that English is different from Latin and English may have preposition at the end of a sentence. So we can use preposition at the end of a sentence as well. We usually use prepositions to show a relationship in place or time or logical relationship between two or more people, places or things. Prepositions are most commonly followed by a noun phrase or pronoun. Here are some examples. Yesterday I saw he was walking down the road. In the sentence, down is a preposition because it has an object. This is the road. This is a noun phrase. I will meet you in the cafe opposite the cinema. In the sentence, opposite is a preposition and it has an object, that is the cinema. It was difficult to sleep during the flight. In the sentence, during the preposition because it has an object, the flight. It was the worst storm since the 1980s. In this sentence, since is a preposition because it has an object, that is 1980s. Give that to me. Here to is a preposition because it has an object, that is me. Sometimes a word with the same spelling may work as a preposition and sometimes as a verb. When it modifies a verb, it becomes an adverb, and when it doesn't modify a verb, rather it connects or establishes a kind of relationship between noun, pronoun, gerund or other part of the sentence. To simply say, if it has an object, it's a preposition. If it doesn't have an object, it's an adverb. Here are some examples. Billy ran up the stairs. In this sentence, up is a preposition because the word up has an object, that is stairs. The second sentence, Billy looked up and saw the alien spacecraft. In this sentence, up is an adverb because it has no object. Rather, the word up in this sentence is modifying the verb looked. Third sentence, after wiping his shoes, he stepped inside. In this sentence, inside is an adverb because it has no object and it is modifying the verb step. The last sentence, the keys were inside the car. In this sentence, inside is a preposition because it has an object, that is the car. Verb. A verb is one of the most used words in English sentences. A verb is a word or set of words that describes an action. For example, runs, is going, has been fainting, etc. It also expresses feeling. For example, love, envy, etc. A verb also expresses state of being. Here are some examples. He walks every day in the morning. Here in the sentence, walks is a verb because it is an action. He ran around the block. In the sentence, ran is also a verb because it expresses an action. I like my friend. In the sentence, like is a verb because it expresses an action, which is a kind of feeling. They seem friendly. In the sentence, seem is a verb because it expresses an action which shows state of being. Some common facts about verbs. State of being verbs are called linking verbs, usually followed by an adjective. In the discussion of noun section, we gave a list of linking verbs. Verbs often consist of more than one word. For example, had been breaking down is a four-word verb. It has a two-word main verb, that is breaking down. It may also be called a phrasal verb, and the two helping verbs had and been. Helping verbs help clarify the intended meaning. Many verbs can function as helping verbs, including is, shall, must, do, has, can, keep, get, start, help, etc. Verbs often take direct objects which receive the action of the verb carried out by the subject. Examples: I like cake. Cake receives the action of the verb like, and it is done by the subject I. She lifts weights. Here in this sentence, the object weights receives the action of the verb lifts, which is done by the subject she. Verbs may take indirect object which receive the direct object. You can spot an indirect object if it makes sense to place to or for in front of it. Examples: I gave Mary the cake. The indirect object Mary receives the direct object cake given by the subject I. Note that you could also say I gave the cake to Mary. This is also correct. She did me a favor. The indirect object me is affected by the direct object favor done by the subject she. Note that you could also say she did a favor for me. He gave the door a kick. So in this sentence, a kick is the direct object and the door is the indirect object, because here if we ask the question, what did he give? Answer is he gave a kick. So this is the direct object, as it is the object of the transitive verb give. And who receives the kick? Of course, the door receives the kick. For this reason, the door here is an indirect object. Sometimes verbs require prepositions to complete a sentence. A noun affected by a preposition is called simply the object of a preposition. Examples: stop talking about them. In this sentence, them is the object of the preposition about. The second sentence, I saw someone inside the house. A subject is a noun, pronoun, or set of words that performs the action of the verbs in an active sentence. Examples: The woman hurried. In this sentence, woman is the subject because she is performing the action of the verb hurry. Second sentence, she was late. In most cases, we cannot determine the parts of speech of a word until it is used in a sentence, because a word may have different functions and they may belong to different parts of a special word class in different sentences on the basis of the functions they perform in a sentence. This may create a kind of confusion. To dispel the confusion, it is very important to understand the function of the word used in a sentence. There are some words in English which sometimes seem to be prepositions and sometimes conjunctions, and it happens due to their function in a sentence. When we use a preposition like word followed by a clause, it functions as a conjunction. And when we use a preposition followed by a noun or noun phrase, it stays as a preposition. Among the most common such words are after, as, before, since, then, until. At first, we need to know the differences between a clause and a phrase. A phrase neither has a subject nor a finite verb. On the other hand, a clause has a subject and a finite verb. It is like a simple sentence, but this is not a complete sentence, rather it is a part of a sentence. Now we are going to the examples. After I had met him last night, I texted his sister at once. In this sentence, the word after is a conjunction because it has connected two clauses. The main clause is I texted his sister at once, and the subordinate clause is I had met him last night. In this sentence, I is the subject and met or had met is the finite verb. The second sentence, after the meeting last night, I texted his sister at once. In this sentence, after is a preposition because it has been used before a noun phrase. The meeting last night, in this phrase there is no subject and there is no finite verb. Meet in the first sentence here has been meeting, it is a gerund. Second example, we will have to wait until they decide what to do. In this sentence, until is a conjunction as it has connected two clauses. We will just have to wait, this is the main clause, until they decide what to do is the subordinate clause. Next, okay, we will sit here until 6 o'clock. In this sentence, until is a preposition because it has been used before a noun phrase 6 o'clock. Example C, it has been 5 years since we met last. In this sentence, the word since is a conjunction as it has connected two clauses. It has been 5 years since our last meeting. Here, since is a preposition as it has been used before a noun phrase, our last meeting. Notice the difference between we met last and our last meeting. When I say our last meeting, here there is no subject, no finite verb. But we met last, it is a clause because here we is the subject and met is the finite verb. In the second sentence, we has been our, and we know only our cannot be a subject, and meet has been meeting. Meeting cannot be a finite verb until it has an auxiliary verb before it. So here our is a possessive and meeting is a gerund. So our last meeting, this is a phrase as it has no subject, no finite verb. Here are some more examples. Charlie will wait here until the sunset. Here Until is a preposition as it has been used before the noun sunset. But Charlie will wait here until we finish the test. Here until is a conjunction as it has connected two clauses. The more examples are here. I am not going to read out the examples. Notice the differences between a clause and a phrase. And the clue, which is italicized and underlined, will help you to understand. For example, example number E, after that effort, everyone doubts whether she can win. But after she did so badly, everyone doubted whether she could win. Notice the underlined word. After that effort, here there is no subject, no finite verb, but later, she did so badly. Here, she is the subject and did is the finite verb. In the same way, I think you all can explain the rest of the examples of why a word is a preposition and why a word is a conjunction. Several words which are prepositions also belong to the word class of adverbs. These includes about, across, around, before, beyond, in, since, near, opposite, outside, fast, round, through, under, up, within, etc. So how to determine when a word is a preposition and when it is an adverb? I have already discussed it. That is, a preposition must have an object which is a noun or pronoun or a gerund, and when the same word is an adverb, it is not supposed to have any object, and an adverb of course modify the verb. Here are some examples. A lot of people are waiting outside the club. In the sentence, outside is a preposition and it has an object, that is the club, which is a noun. Where is your car? She is outside. She is outside means actually she is staying outside. Here outside has no object, so it is an adverb and it is actually modifying the verb staying, which is omitted here. A gallery is opposite the Natural History of Museum. Here opposite is a preposition because it has an object, that is Natural History Museum. It is a noun phrase. Can you tell me where the bus station is? It's over there, just opposite. In this sentence, the word opposite has no object, so it may also modify a verb which may be located and it is omitted in this sentence. The main point to remember is a preposition is supposed to have an object and an adverb will not have any object. Here are some more examples. They finally went aboard the plane. Here aboard is a preposition and its object is the plane. The plane crashed, killing all 200 people aboard. Here the word aboard has no object, so it's an adverb. Besides, it is modifying the verb killing. The boat swayed as he stepped aboard. Here aboard is an adverb because it has no object and it is at the same time modifying the verb stepped. Example B, we watched small crabs scuttling along the ways. Here along is a preposition as it has an object, the base, which is a noun. But she brought her children along when she went to the market. Here along is an adverb because it has no object and it is modifying the verb brought. The railway runs alongside the highway. It is a preposition and it has an object, that is the highway. We wondered what the driver wanted when his car came alongside. It's an adverb as it has no object. We can't find a public toilet around the station, and the station is the object of the preposition around. If we are not lost, why do you keep driving around in circles without getting anywhere? Here in this sentence, around is an adverb because it has no object and it has modified the verb driving. There are some words which can at the same time be used as a preposition and verbs, and we have to determine the differences between the preposition and verbs on the basis of the function it plays in a sentence. Many verbs go together with prepositions to make prepositional verbs. These always have an object. I just couldn't go without my phone. Robert accused her of stealing his idea. Phrasal prepositional verbs contain a verb, an adverb, particle, and a preposition which are underlined here. We cannot separate the particle and preposition. The taxi is due any minute. Can you listen out for it? I can't put up with this noise any longer. There are some words which can function as different parts of speech in sentences. And here are some examples. And in the examples, there are clues. The clues are underlined and italicized. We are just going to explain a few sentences. To the south, there are high mountains. In the sentence, high is an adjective because it has described the noun mountains. So how are the mountains? These are high. Commodity prices were at a rare high. In this sentence, high is a noun because it has been used here as an object of the preposition at. The sculpture stood about 5 feet high. In this sentence, high is an adverb as it has modified the verb stood. So notice the differences between the use of high in example B and in example C. In example B, it is an object of the preposition at, and in C, it is not an object of any word. Rather, in the C, the word high is modifying the verb stood, and we know verbs can only be modified by adverbs. Number D, the slate broke on the hard floor. In this sentence, hard is an adjective because it is describing the noun floor. Number E, they work hard at school. In this sentence, hard is an adverb because it is modifying the verb work. Number F, we hardly know each other. In this sentence, hardly is also an adverb as it is modifying the verb know. So the word hard can be an adjective and adverb at the same time, and hardly is also an adverb, but hard as an adverb and hardly as an adverb are different in their meaning. When I say we hardly know, it means we scarcely know. So here hardly means scarcely or rarely. Example G, a hardy plant is able to live through the winter. Here in this sentence, hardy is an adjective as it is describing the noun plant, and in this sentence hardy means something enduring. We are going to next slide. Here are some more examples, and I am not going to read out the examples, and I will just pass the slides one by one. And the underlined and italicized word will help you to understand the parts of speech of a word. I'm just going to read out the first few sentences. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins. In this sentence, about is an adverb because it has modified the verb wandered. There is something pleasing about him. In the sentence, about is a preposition and it has an object, that is him. I am now just passing the slides one by one. Here the words are not marked in red, but still there are the italicized and underlined words, and it will help you to find out the parts of speech or determine the parts of speech of the word. Try to determine the parts of speech of the words in italics. Here, try to understand the parts of speech of the words in italics. Thank you so much for being with me.